guys, what's up? It's Emily. Welcome back to my channel. I'm trying something out today where I do more of like a steady cam with my video just to give it a less presentational feel. So let me know how it hits. Today I really wanted to talk about mental health. I feel like as time goes on, hi Peaches. I'm watching my friend's dog. As time goes on, mental health gets less and less stigmatized, or so it feels like, at least where I live and the people that I surround myself with. So I just kind of wanted to contribute a bit to the conversation and share just some tools and habits that I've developed through the years of struggling a bit with anxiety and depression, just some tools that have helped me get through things and also prevent things from happening. A healthy lifestyle is a healthy lifestyle for your body, but also a healthy lifestyle for your mind. Mental health is such an important thing to me, and talking about it is so important. Yeah, let me get into it, I guess. I have my notes here. I'm fully in Aries. Depression and anxiety definitely overlap. Sometimes I experience both at the same time. Sometimes I experience one right after the other. It's usually anxiety into depression. So these tools can be used for both, either or, depending on who you are and how you work, or how you work this month or this week or this year or whatever. There's really no one size fits all way of doing this. Also, another disclaimer, I feel like this is obvious, but I also still feel like I need to say it. I'm not a mental health professional. I'm really just sharing tools that have helped me throughout the years.
Peaches, what are you doing? Oh, you're so...
I want a dog so badly. Having a dog is amazing for your mental health if you can afford it and if you have the time for it. I'm not a professional. This is just what has worked for me throughout the years. I started therapy 1.5 years ago. It's been amazing. I use this thing called Nipsey, which is a program I think it's specific to New York. I'm not sure if you can actually access it remotely in any other parts of America, the United States. It's really great. I'll link it down below. They scale how much each session is based on your income, and they also have 3 free intake sessions with your therapist. Before you sign up, you fill out this like really long questionnaire about your history and just stuff about you, and so they place you with someone that they think would be a good fit, and then if it's not a good fit, then they will place you with somebody else. So it's really flexible in terms of you have this outside organization placing you with somebody that's a good fit, and then you also have the kind of sliding pay scale component, because I think mental health is such a priority, and unfortunately a lot of people, at least in the United States, feel like they can't make it a priority financially because it's so expensive in so many places. So this is a program that has really worked for me. I'm sorry, I think it's only New York City. I hope it's helpful to people that live in New York. I kind of have a few general things that I do for my mental health, and I separated them into things I do for my body and things I do for my mind. I find that the two are obviously so connected, and these are just little things that I do that hopefully, if I make habits out of them over time, my generalized anxiety and depression will become better. Also, wanted to say, you should read Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's an amazing book if you're looking to develop better habits, and I think habits for your physical and mental health are great habits to get into. So first area let's get into is taking care of your body. I have a little story to tell you about that. So when I was 19, I was in college. I was a freshman in college, and I was just experiencing not severe depression, but like moderate depression. And I went to my general physician and filled out like a page questionnaire that basically alluded to the fact that I was mildly depressed, and she was so quick to just prescribe me pills. And I'm not saying that medication is not good, but I do think that medication is an option. I personally don't believe it should be your first option. I think if there are lifestyle changes that you can make, you should make those, and then if you still need it, obviously take medicine. I just started exercising every day. I actually made a video about kind of just like how to have a more active lifestyle recently. I'll put it in this little thing here. Yeah, I started exercising every day, just being active every day, doing something active every day, breaking a sweat, getting my heart rate up, and that, I'm not going to say it cured me of all depression, but it took care of the main problem I was having. And so exercising really changed my life in that way. It's a huge outlet for me to process things, take a break, and the tea's ready. Let me get it. Yeah, just like process things and take a break and feel feel my endorphins, you know? Sorry, the lighting just changed so dramatically. I'm just getting a cup of tea. If you need ideas for like exercises and stuff, I have that video about that in more detail. Tea time! I hope this has caffeine. Another thing is eating well. Getting protein, getting all the nutrients you need. I feel like we need to move the conversation away from things that you shouldn't eat to things that your body needs and that you should eat. I feel like for so long, the conversation has been so focused on like, what's bad for you and what makes you fat and what makes you... And it's just like, no, like let's feed ourselves and give our bodies what we need. So I find, especially as a vegan, like days where I don't get enough protein, forget about it. Heinous. It's a really heinous existence. And I don't. Really multitasking here. Hi Peaches, you want a greenie? You want a greenie, don't you? Spilling the tea here. Yeah, days where I don't get enough protein, I'm super tired and therefore feel depressed because I have no energy. So give your body the nutrients that you need. And if you're on like a... God, the exposure. There you go. I love her so much. I'm so distracted. If you're a vegetarian or a vegan, or you have something cut out of your diet, then you should really make sure that you're getting the nutrients that you need, taking supplements that you need, etc. Another thing is just drinking enough water, staying hydrated. Days where I don't drink water, I feel absolutely heinous physically, and so a lot of it is just taking care of your body so that you have energy. Like when I don't have energy, everything is so much harder, and it contributes to like the feeling of feeling depressed. Yeah, drinking enough water, resting. I know that being working class, it feels like rest should not be a priority, and sometimes it feels like it's just impossible to fit that into your lifestyle, but you have to find a way, whether it's finding time to nap or just getting a good solid 8-9 hours of sleep. If you are not resting, it's so hard. Anything that is maybe bubbling under the surface, depression, anxiety wise, it's gonna be like 5 times harder to deal with. If you're, I don't know why 5 was the magic number there, but it's just gonna be significantly harder to deal with if you're not rested. So just really finding time to rest, even if it's just like catching up on sleep during the weekend, just really finding little times to sleep. So important. Also, taking a break from alcohol or any other substances you might imbibe in. Just really taking stock of where you are without anything interfering with your mind and the way that you're processing things, the way that your body feels for, a few days, I think is great. Even sometimes having a cup of coffee in the morning, if I'm really going through an anxiety spell, I will call off the coffee. It's very rare, but even something as small as like a cup of coffee and the caffeine, that can really affect you. So just taking stock in what substances you're putting in your body and like how that might be affecting you. Really just reevaluating maybe your relationship with whatever, even if it's your cup of coffee in the morning. Is it contributing to my anxiety? I'm not trying to shame anybody for anything that they're doing. I'm just saying really taking stock in what you're putting into your body, like how that is affecting you. Is it making things more intense? Is it making things worse, better, whatever? And then the last thing, body-wise, is kind of random, but I've mentioned it in a few of my videos. It's called contrast showering. It's basically when you take a shower, you do 75% hot water and then followed by 25% freezing cold water until you're done with your shower. So whether that means 3 minutes hot water, 1 minute cold water, 1.5 minutes hot water, 30 seconds cold water, you just kind of keep doing that cycle until you're done cleaning yourself and your shower's over, and you should end on a cold note. And basically I don't know exactly what it does, but there's this nerve, I think it's in your spine, that is really connected to anxiety and depression, and it like stimulates it in a good way. And she's so cute. I just gave her a treat, so she loves me. She just wants a hug. Oh, snug. Yes. It stimulates this nerve, which is known to be connected to something with anxiety and depression. And I just know that when I take contrast showers, it's not even that I have like a ton of energy. I just feel like I just have a little bit more clarity. And it's also really just good for your body physically because it's good for like your arteries and your heart. I try to do contrast showering every day, if at least just ending my showers with freezing cold water. And that's really helped just over time help with my depression and anxiety, because the book Atomic Habits talks about how if you do 1% of something every day, it might feel like you're doing nothing, but then in a year that's 365%. So if you are doing contrast showering every day, it might feel like it's not doing anything for your depression and anxiety, but you might be in a totally different place in a year if you do it every day for a year than you were today. You also might not be, like, not everything works for everybody, but I'm just saying, like, I think anything is worth a try. And I just showers now, I just feel so refreshed. And I used to really have an issue with cold water in the shower because I'm a very hot shower person. So you can always try to ease your way into the freezing cold and start super hot to lukewarm, then super hot to kind of cold, and super hot to cold, and then super hot to freezing cold. You know, warm your way into it, or don't warm your way into it because you're doing the opposite, but you know what I mean. Next is taking care of your mind, stimulating your mind. I've talked about this in my other videos too, but just putting effort into your morning and evening routines is so important. For me, it's connected to anxiety. If I'm just being thrown into a day without warming up into it and then just working until I sleep, or worse, bringing my laptop in bed with me, I can't really get sleep and I can't really turn my brain off because I haven't spent time to unwind or rev up. I've just gone right into it and tried to come right out of it, and contributes to anxiety because I feel like I constantly am like moving and thinking about things. And when I'm actually anxious and I'm not doing a morning or night routine, it really is not a good situation. So there are so many morning and night routines on YouTube. Just Google them. I have a morning routine out, and I'll be doing a night routine at some point soon. But yeah, do what works for you and try new things, keep it fresh. The one thing I hate is like having the same morning and night routine every single morning and every single night. I think if you have a few things that you do in both and kind of like have more of an alternating thing, I feel like that's better than doing the same exact thing every day, because I honestly think that makes me more depressed than not doing it at all in a lot of ways. Stimulating your senses. When I stimulate my senses, i.e. put music on, put something like in the diffuser, put on an outfit to make me feel good, there's something about that. I don't know if it's just me or how I grew up or whatever, but when I'm like in absolute silence and like nothing's going on around me or stimulating me, I don't feel really depressed, but I feel I don't like it. And if I'm already depressed, it makes me feel even more heinous. It makes me not want to go do anything about it. So just knowing like, okay, like if I put on a little music, if I put on a little scent, maybe put on the TV in the background, putting on an outfit, working from home, I feel like I'm constantly dodging depression bullets working from home because you're having to really like create this like stimulating environment for yourself. And I find that even just like putting on a nice outfit, putting on a little makeup the day, it really does help. I feel like especially touch, smell, and sound, and sight too. Like I really like things to be clean and organized around me, but like stimulating your senses in that way, it does really help me with dealing with depression and anxiety too in different ways. If I'm anxious, there are certain smells that calm me down. There's certain music that can be calming. Journaling is amazing too. I am not somebody that can sit down for a half an hour every morning and journal, so I do the 5-minute journal, which is fantastic. There's something about taking stock in the things that I'm grateful for and the things that I have, and then thinking about my goals every morning, taking stock of bigger picture or sometimes smaller picture, but you know, what I'm grateful for and like what I want out of my day before I dive into everything. It's so helpful. And then at the end of the day, taking stock in what was great about the day, how I could have made the day better, etc. It makes you think about things that you normally wouldn't think about, and it helps you better your outlook and just your general sense of who am I and where am I going, because I feel like sometimes that can really get lost day to day, especially as you get more and more into your 20s. So journaling is really helpful with that. Another thing you can do to stimulate your mind when you're feeling anxious and depressed is be social. Even if it's just FaceTiming a friend or calling a friend, making plans with a friend. I have never lived alone, but even seeing people that I don't live with, that I don't normally see, is really nice. It's nice to see people and see how they're doing, and we are social beings. Even though I'm an introvert, I do need time with people, so it also just takes the pressure a little bit off of work. Work is not the only thing that's important. Having relationships is equally as important as working. A lot of my depression and anxiety comes from work. If I have that in check and I see, oh, well, work isn't all there is to life, that makes me feel better. Getting outside, again, I work from home. I'll stay inside. Sometimes I don't even realize it, and it's like 6 p.m. and I haven't been out yet. Just get out, take a walk around the block, do something, just get outside. It's so important because all of your problems, I feel like, seem bigger when you don't go outside, or like when you haven't had like a taste of the outside, because you're just like in your apartment all day. Of course, all of your problems seem big. They're just in the confines of your apartment. But if you go outside and you see other people and you see other life, it just gives you perspective in a very simple way. Also, doing new things, going to new places. You don't need to spend money. If you have the money to go to new places, fine, do it. I love that for you. But if you don't, walk down a new street on your walk. Take a new route to work. Just switching switching things up in your routine is stimulating. I think having too strict of a routine or too much of the same thing every day, just this kind of feeling that like the days are repeating themselves, like that Groundhog Day feeling, is really connected to depression for me. And so just finding new things to do and little new things to incorporate into my routines, new routines to do, that is super helpful for me. Watching a new TV show, reading a new book. There's just something, especially as a creative person, it's so fun to get into a new show and fall in love with new characters and new stories rather than watching the same thing over and over again. There's nothing like reading a good book, having new information come at you, and it's just the feeling of discovery, honestly, that I feel like is very helpful when you're feeling depressed. I feel like depression, at least for me, is just lack of stimuli, and so discovery and curiosity is like the antithesis of that. Doing new things is so important in whatever scope you can. Oh my god, I'm like getting so sick of hearing myself talk. This is about the time where I start to go into my vocal fry, so I'm really gonna try to speak in on voice and be interesting and fun still. Oh yeah, social media. Try to take a break from social media like every once in a while, maybe like a week every few months, or like a day every month, or like whatever you can do. If you really truly can't take a break from social media, and I've said this in videos before, try to be really intentional when you open your phone to do something. If you're opening your phone for no reason, really think twice about it. Do I really want to scroll mindlessly on social media for an hour, or can I pick up a book and read? Am I picking up my phone to send an email, a specific email or a specific message to somebody, or do I really not have a purpose? Even if the purpose is like, I need to take 5 minutes to just watch TikToks of dogs, like do that, but just have the actual intention. I feel like that is so great. Social media is great in a lot of ways, but we are still engaging with a lot of images that are unrealistic and depressing. Like, it's depressing to see people's highlight reels all the time when you're just already feeling depressed or anxious or whatever. So I feel like if you're really feeling depressed, just read a book instead. Reading a book rather than just mindlessly scrolling on social media will actually make things better, if even just a little bit. I do think going on social media will actually make things worse, even if just a little bit. Or at the very least, reevaluate your relationship to social media. Like, really ask yourself, what does this give me? How does it make me feel? Why am I going on here? Anyway, okay, moving on. I am type A. I don't like the word anal. I am very neat and organized. Things that make me happy, and this, I don't know if organization makes people happy that aren't like me, but they just don't feel like doing it, or if it makes no difference. But if you're like me and you're feeling depressed, organizing and cleaning, oh my God, it's like a drug. It really is. I don't know, maybe it's a control thing. A lot of anxiety is connected to control, and so if I can find one thing to control that is actually like helping me and helping my anxiety, it's just a win-win. For example, I don't mean like clean your whole house. I mean like maybe you do the dishes and then clean out one drawer of your clothes and fold them nice. You know, it doesn't need to be like a huge project. It can just be like a little bit here and there. Again, very much of the Atomic Habits 1% little bit each day. Like, I really never try to tackle, I'm gonna clean out my entire closet today. First of all, I don't have the time to do that, but second of all, I could do that in 2 weeks and just do a little bit every day. You know, I won't burn out as I'm doing it, and I can really make informed decisions about my clothes. But organizing and cleaning really helps me with, it's very connected to my mental health. To me, I need a clean space, clean mind. I'm not like super hardcore minimalist, but when I moved to my apartment now, like out of my childhood home, I got rid of 70% of my things, and that was amazing. I think the minimalist thing is if it doesn't bring you joy and if you don't use it, you should get rid of it. And so I really tried to do that, and almost everything in my apartment is stuff that I use or that brings me joy. I do think clutter is, again, this is just my experience with it. I don't know if everyone else who's not super type A like feels this way, but as things start to pile up, it truly affects my mental health in a negative way. I cannot live in a cluttered space. It makes me depressed. When I was 19 and going through that thing that I went through in college, my dorm room was a mess. I think that really contributed to how I was feeling. So I like to have things in their place. I like things to be clean. I like things to be neat, and I like things to be organized. Also, just getting rid of things you don't need, to me, is really connected to my mental health. I'm getting rid of the thoughts I don't need by getting rid of the things I don't need. And so the act of getting rid of actual things that I don't need makes me feel like I have less things in my mind as well, in a way. Treating myself. If I'm really going through it, I will treat myself. And typically what that means is I will buy a really nice cup of coffee or something that I wouldn't normally, like a $5 one, instead of making coffee at home, like something like that. I'm not saying treating yourself, you need to go buy a $300 facial or anything like that. I think it's important to give yourself stuff. I mean, they say money can't buy happiness, but I think that's honestly like a really oppressive phrase. You know, money can buy a basic standard of living, and if you don't have basic standard of living, I don't think you're going to be really happy. So I hate that phrase. Money can absolutely buy happiness. If you're really depressed about something and you're just maxing out your credit card, maybe you have an issue. But if I want to take the day off and go get a cup of coffee and chill the out, that's buying me happiness. So anyway, treating yourself. Treat yourself. Treat yourself. Don't go into debt. Get a new book. Spend $10, buy a used book. It doesn't need to be expensive, but just treat yourself to something that's going to bring you joy. Maybe you go buy fresh flowers. Oh my God, having fresh flowers in the apartment. Forget about it. It's little things sometimes that really bring us happiness. Little things that you buy, because money can buy happiness. Now I just want to move on to a little bit more focused on anxiety specifically and depression specifically, just little tiny tools that I use for both of them. And then I swear I'm almost done talking. Oh my God, like the sound of my own voice. I'm not going to speak for the next week and a half. Anxiety. I have 2 breathing techniques that I use. One is alternate nostril breathing. So what you do is you breathe in through one nostril, breathe out through the other. Breathe in through that one, breathe out through the other. And you just keep repeating that. That has helped me exit panic attacks early. I'll like hyperventilate when I have panic attacks. It's so not fun. I was actually on set and my character was hyperventilating, and I was personally fine. Just that physical sensation of hyperventilating in between takes, I was starting to get a little like, whew. So I literally went in the corner and squatted and did some alternate nostril breathing, and it really helped me be a healthy and happy actor, because we don't need to be that indulgent in our acting. Alternate nostril breathing. And then another one I do is when you breathe in for 7 seconds, so just like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, all the way up to 7. Hold the breath for 4 Mississippi, and then exhale for 8 Mississippi, and repeat that as many times as you need to. What I like about these 2 techniques is that I can do them anywhere and I don't need anything. I have agoraphobic tendencies and like claustrophobic tendencies. I don't like taking the train. I don't like planes. I don't like large crowds, but I take planes and I take subways and I put myself in large crowds because I want to live like a normal person. These are just 2 tools that have been really helpful, because if I'm feeling nervous on the subway, I can just literally do one of those breathing techniques and it makes me feel better. Does it cure whatever thought pattern I have? No, but it makes it easier to deal with. Another thing that I love is lavender essential oil. I'll just put a drop on my palm, rub it together, and then inhale 4 times and just envision things going the way I want. And that means something different depending on what's making me anxious. That's really helpful to do after a breathing technique. And then there's meditation, which is really hard to get into. Just if I'm like, I'm having a panic attack, let me meditate. That doesn't really work. But if you're feeling some anxiety coming on, or you're coming off of some anxiety, meditation is really helpful. I really love the 5-minute miracle. It's on YouTube. It's just a 5-minute meditation for anxiety, and it's really great. It's definitely harder to meditate if you're meditating because you're anxious, but if you can just get there, it's fantastic. And there's meditations for everything. Like if you're feeling anxious about your health for like if you're like going through a WebMD loop for no reason, which I find myself in a lot, I'll do health anxiety meditation, and then I feel better. Something that really helps me with anxiety, and I guess you could do it for depression too, is writing down all the things that you're anxious or depressed about. Specifically me for anxiety, I find that when I'm feeling anxious, it's usually about a bunch of little built up things. So what I do is I write down everything that's bothering me, even if it feels small. I write down all these things, I write down why I'm upset about it, and I write down what I'm gonna do about being upset about it. And it's usually like a very small action item, and just seeing it all laid out in front of me and not in my head, there's something about putting all of that onto a piece of paper that just makes me feel I can release myself from thinking about it. Yeah, those are just some little tools that I have for anxiety. For depression, I have this 2-day reset plan that I use as needed. A lot of times it's when I've just achieved burnout, but I think it's good to do before you achieve burnout. I say achieve like it's an achievement. So I have this 2-day reset plan, and I typically do it Saturday, Sunday, because even though I work for myself, I really do try to keep the Monday through Friday thing. Saturday I will literally take the day and do absolutely nothing. This is the one time in the world I will let myself mindlessly scroll. I will eat whatever I want. I probably won't exercise unless that's absolutely what I want to do. I'll probably drift in and out of sleep. I watch comfort TV shows. It's like an unstimulating day. It's the day to crash. Day 1, crash. Day 2 is the day where we're a little bit more productive and we're actively engaging in self-care. Day 2, I would definitely go back to all of the things that I talked about in the beginning of the video, those general tips, and incorporate a lot of those to actively make yourself feel good. I also think that a self-care day can involve grooming. I understand that if I give myself a facial, it's not going to cure my generalized anxiety, but I think there's a lot of articles out there that kind of misconstrue what specifically, I'm gonna say it, women do for self-care and just completely invalidate it. And I think that that's really misogynistic. If you want to go get a facial, or you want to give yourself a facial, or you want to do your nails and that's something that's going to make you feel really good, do that. Doing more grooming things on a self-care day makes you feel fresh, it makes you feel good, it makes you feel ready for like a new week. I don't know, I've just seen articles that are like, women think that giving themselves a facial will cure them. It's like, nobody thinks that. It's just one thing that can be done in addition to all the other things that I talked about, that doing one of these things alone is not going to really do anything. But if you start really developing healthy habits over time, I do think that has helped me. And one of those things is taking time to pamper myself. It feels really good to pamper myself, and so you should pamper yourself too, whatever gender you are. Like, who cares? Everybody deserves to pamper themselves. Pampering myself helps my mental health, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just saying. Rant over. So we have our Saturday crash and then our Sunday let's get back into it vibe. So that's kind of like my 2-day depression reset plan. That's it, she says after talking for 45 minutes. I need a nap. Anyway, yeah, mental health is super important. I love talking about it in a way that is extremely not stigmatized. Mental health is facts. Let's stop pretending like we don't feel anxious. Let's stop pretending like we don't feel depressed. I've just been in so many situations where I've had to pretend that I'm not anxious because I don't want to be judged for being anxious, and I'm 100% over that, and I will never do that again. I feel like a lot of my friends and I just talk so openly and freely about our mental health and where we are and what we're doing, and it's such a good conversation to have. So let's just talking about it, and always reach out to people if you're really feeling low, and wherever you are, things do get better, and sometimes it's a slower journey, but like things will get better. Wow. Ew. But yeah, there are people out there that care about you, and just know that. Thanks for watching this. If you've watched all the way through, I appreciate that, and I hope that this has been valuable to you in some way. What is that expression? I could talk the hind legs off a donkey? Is that what it is? I'm gonna go now. Take care of yourself, make yourself your first priority, and don't feel sorry about it.